Dear children, welcome to my second session of chapter 9. In my first session, I taught you about lists. List is a collection data type. A list is a mutable and ordered collection of values enclosed within square brackets separated by comma. In this session, you will learn more about lists. Frequently used list functions. Here I have a list 1 with values 10, 20, 30. If I want to make a copy of list 1, I can write list 2 is equal to list1.copy. Here list 1 is the list object which you want to copy. Copy is the function. Copy function creates a copy of list 1 and stores in the object which you have given in the left hand side. So here list 2 is the object on the left hand side. So the copied list is stored in list 2. So here you can see in the array the same list 1 is copied into list 2. So print list 1 will give the output 10, 20, 30 within square brackets, and print list 2 will also have the same values because of the copy function. To count the number of times an element occurs in the list, you can use the count function. X is equal to marks.count90. Marks is the name of the list object, count is the function, and 90 is the element which you want to count. Here in this list, 90 occurs 2 times. So the value returned by count function is 2, which is stored in the variable x on the left hand side. So print x will give the output 2. The next function is the index function. X is equal to marks.index90. Marks is the name of the list object, index is the function, and 90 is the element. The index function will return the index of the element. Look at the array. The element 90 occurs twice. When I print x, the output is 1, which means the index function has returned the index of the first occurrence of this element 90. The first occurrence of 90 has index 1. So this value 1 is stored in the variable x. That is why when I print x, I get the output as 1. In order to reverse the elements in a list, you can use the reverse function. Marks.reverse. Marks is the name of the list object, reverse is the function. So after applying this function, you look at the array. The elements have been reversed. Now when I print marks, I get the output as 70, 90, 67, 85. You can see that the elements have been reversed. The next function is the sort function. Marks is the name of the list object, sort. Sort means arrange. So look at the array. After applying the sort function, the list object marks contains elements in order. The elements are arranged in order. 67, 70, 85 and 90. Look at the original values in the list and look at the values in the array. Now when I say print marks, I will get the values in an arranged form. So here you can see that the sort function is arranging the values in ascending order. But sometimes you may want the values to be arranged in descending order. For that, in the same sort function, you can use a parameter reverse with value true, reverse equal to true. So when you give this parameter, the elements are arranged but in the descending order, decreasing order. So when I say print marks, you can see that the elements in the list are now in descending order. Next is the sum function. X is equal to sum of marks. Here sum is the function and marks is the list object. Observe carefully. For sum function, you should not use the dot operator. The list is not in front of the function, whereas it is as a parameter within the parenthesis. Sum within brackets marks. So from the name of the function itself, it will be clear to you that this sum function will add up all the elements and return that value, which will be stored in the left hand side variable x. So when I print x, I will get the output as 312, which is the sum of all the elements in this list. Similar to the sum function is the min function. X is equal to min of marks. Min is the function and within parenthesis marks is the list object. The min function will return the minimum value from the list marks, which will be stored in the left hand side variable x. So when I print x, the output is 67 because 67 is the minimum among all the values in this list. Next is the max function. X is equal to max of marks. So here max is the function and within parenthesis marks is the list object. Max function will return the maximum value in the list, which will be stored in the left hand side variable x. Print x gives the output as 90. Recall all the functions you learnt in this session. Copy, count, index, reverse, sort, sum, min, max. Next, I will teach you another method by which you can create lists. The usual way of creating lists is by placing the elements within square brackets. But if you want to generate lists with a series of values, so here I have taken a list with the numbers from 1 to 10. There is an easy way by which you can generate this type of lists. List 1 is equal to, on the right hand side you take the range function. Range function has 3 parameters: start value, stop value and step value. So you generate the values which you want using the range function. So here I want to generate the numbers from 1 to 10. The start value must be 1, the stop value must be 11 and the step value is 1. And then surround the range function with the list function. Okay, let us see another example. Now I want to generate a list of even numbers from 2 to 20. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. the way by which I should do is take list 1 is equal to, on the right hand side take the range function, fill the start, stop and step parameters. So to generate even numbers from 2 to 20, start value is 2, stop value is 21, step value is 2 because I want to jump by 2. And then surround the range function with the list function. So the right way of generating lists with a series of numbers is not the first method but the second method. That is by using the range function. Let us see another example. Look at the values in this list. 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100. Can you guess what are these numbers? 100 is 10 power 2. 81 is 9 power 2. 64 is 8 to the power 2. 49 is 7 power 2. Yes, they are square numbers. Is it not? Starting from 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared, 5 squared, 6 squared, 7 squared, 8 squared, 9 squared and 10 squared. Look at these values. The powers are all the same in all the elements. The power is 2. Only the base value is changing. But it is changing in a series, in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They are the base values. So, if we take x as a variable, then we can write an expression for all these values. That is x power 2. And x takes the values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, we have x squared for x is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So to generate these values, I can write range function with the 3 parameters start, stop and step. I have to generate the values for x using the range function. So the values needed for x are 1 to 10. So start value is 1, stop value is 11, step value is 1. So you get the range function ready. And then x squared. How to write x squared in Python? You have to use the exponent operator to the power of double asterisk. So x to the power of 2 for x in range. So here you have to use the for loop for x in range. And then surround this with the list function. Here x power 2 is the expression for x is the counter variable. I can also replace the list function, this list function, directly with the square brackets, because square brackets means it's a list. So observe carefully, I am removing the list function and replacing with square brackets. So the syntax which I have followed here is list is equal to within square brackets expression for counter variable in range. So the correct way of generating these squared numbers is not the first one but the second method by using the syntax given below. Look at this one. List 1 is equal to within square brackets 2 to the power of x. This is 2 to the power of x for x in range 5. What will be the values generated by this syntax? The range function has only one parameter here. It should be taken as a stop value. So what will be the start, stop and step values for range 5? The start value will be the default value 0 since start value is not given. Stop value should be taken as 4. In the parameter it is 5. So actual value is 4. And then step value is 1. So this range function will generate values starting from 0 up to 4, stepping by 1, which are nothing but 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. For x in range 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which means x takes the values 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. These values of x you should apply in this expression 2 power x. 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3, 2 power 4. 2 power 0 is 1. Any number raised to the power 0 is 1. 2 power 1 is 2. 2 power 2 is 4. 2 power 3 is 8. 2 into 2 into 2, 8. 2 power 4 is 16. What are the values we have here? 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. These are the values generated by this syntax placed within the square bracket. So look at the array for list 1. It has the values 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. So when I say print list 1, it will give the output as 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. So problems will be for you in either way. They may give the syntax, the expression, and ask what is the list which is generated, or the list may be given and you will be asked to write the expression using this syntax. So this syntax list is equal to within square brackets expression for counter variable in range. This syntax is called as list comprehension. For example, to create a list of numbers from 1 to 10 that are either divisible by 3 or divisible by 6. So using this syntax, list 1 is equal to within square brackets. Here one bracket is here, another bracket is here. X for x in range 1, 11, 1. Because I want to generate the numbers 1 to 10. But I don't want all the numbers from 1 to 10. I want only which are either divisible by 3 or divisible by 6. So after the range function, I should attach an if condition. If x modulus 3 is equal to 0 or x modulus 6 is equal to 0. In this condition, the expression x modulus 3 is equal to 0 checks whether x is divisible by 3 or x modulus 6 is equal to 0 checks whether x is divisible by 6. So if x is divisible by 3 or 6, it will be taken and substituted in this expression. Here x is the expression. So that you will get a list of numbers from 1 to 10 that are either divisible by 3 or divisible by 6. With this, I conclude my session. So in this session, you learned some frequently used list functions and also how to create lists using list comprehension syntax. That's all in this session. Thank you.